All right, everybody, welcome to our webinar. Listen, we're going to take a few minutes to let everybody in the room. And as normal, what's going to happen here is we're going to just have a little bit of chat and hopefully get you to start engaging in the chat and in the Q&A. We're going to start off by talking about what the heck is going on. Well, we're not working. So Tash, I'm going to introduce you and you're going to have a chance to introduce yourself in a second to everybody. But what are you watching right now? And for everybody, put into chat, what television show or what movie did you recently watch, just so we can find out what people are doing.
Yeah. You know what's really striking our family is the $1 Million Secret. I don't know if you guys have been watching it, but it's all about putting money in a box. $1 million shows up and you've got to hide it from the other person. Lots of deceit, different tactics, just complete mind rot, in all fairness, Matt. But honestly, at the end of the day, when you can watch a little bit of good television, it's just entertainment purposes and shut down. What about yourself?
Well, so my wife has been laid up a little bit, so we've been watching a lot of different television. But we just started to rewatch Foundation, which is based off of an Isaac Asimov book, and it's just I'm a big sci-fi guy, but we've got two people who said they're watching Stick, and my wife just started watching that, and we just started watching Happy Gilmore. We watched that movie last night because there's a Happy Gilmore 2 coming out, and so anyway. Oh, Brian Haney's watching Schitt's Creek. That's fantastic. Yeah, wonderful. Some good television in there. All right. Well, let's go ahead and dive in. If you guys have any questions throughout, there's going to be a Q&A at the end, but you can always ask your questions during the webinar today by just clicking on the chat or the Q&A. We're fine with either. All right. Well, if you don't know who I am the co-founder of Proudmouth. My name is Matt Halloran. Started doing radio when I was 13 years old with the Madman Matt Halloran Show. And today we're going to be talking about what's changed in social media. And many years ago, in actually 2012, I wrote the book, The Social Media Handbook for Financial Advisors. And surprisingly enough, some of the stuff is still applicable, but most of it's not. And that's why we brought Tash in to go ahead and talk to all of you, because she is our resident expert on social media. So Tash, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. So Tash here. I'm the head of customer success here at Proudmouth. I come with oodles of experience in the digital marketing world. Not only do I have a financial software background, I also come with lots of digital marketing experience. And I've worked with many different clients and different strategies. And I know what works, what doesn't work. And the one big thing that stands out to me is, and I geek out about this, is the algorithms and the and all the different platforms and how they work. So I'm so passionate to be able to be sharing that today. Um, I have a development software background, so data and analytics is what I specialize in. So I like things that work. I like proof in the numbers, I like dashboards. I like to know what is getting traction so that we're not wasting cycles, not wasting time. And I love to train and coach. So for me, this is certainly hitting all of those feelers, and I cannot wait to dive in.
Well, let's go ahead and dive in. And we're so happy to have you on our team here. What you have brought to our clients, and not just our clients, but Proudmouth as a whole, has been hugely valuable. All right, everybody. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about what's out and what's in. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about is really something that I'm going to be fully transparent with all of you guys. When Tash brought this to us, I really struggled with this, just because I was pretty old school when it came to volume of posting. But Tash, you changed my mind. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, best thing I can do is give you a little bit of a rundown on what works, what doesn't. So, volume and visibility is what used to work. You used to get credits. If we think of this almost like a video game, you used to get credits and tokens for posting everywhere. That is what the algorithm loved. It thought, hey, look, this person, they are active on all of these platforms, and they would give you points for that. Now the algorithm is looking for people who are interacting. Are you getting comments? Are you getting likes? Are you getting shares? Do they actually like what you're posting? That is how you're moving up. And you can see that, and proof in the pudding is I'm sure all of you have made a LinkedIn post recently. And when somebody comments on it, all of a sudden you pop back up at the top. That is what the algorithm is loving. That's what it's wanting. That's what it's giving you points for. If something is working really well, I recommend go back, pick up that post and put another comment in it. It's going to bring it
Mm.
right back up to the top. But really, what we're doing is we're driving into our old playbook of what we knew worked before and what's working now. And we're going to show you how we can trick those algorithms and you can get the most bang for your buck with posting content multiplication. And the one main thing is going to be less is more, quality over quantity.
Okay. With that, though,
Mhm.
there are a lot of people out there. It's not mean to be mean to our participants today, who are a little bit on the lazy side, Tash. And it was okay. You would get those points. And I love that we're going to talk about this as like it's like a game, right? So you're going to get those points, you're going to get those credits, you're going to be able to level up. And you used to be able to level up by just basically posting the same stuff everywhere. And that's another thing that's changed.
Absolutely. So the algorithms are catching on to this. They are going, hey, that's the exact same video that showed up on YouTube. That's the same video that showed up on Facebook, that showed up on Instagram, that showed up here, that showed up there. And it is not becoming original content. The best way to explain this in layman's terms is you ever been at a party and someone comes up to you and they talk to you about the same story over and over and over again? The more drinks they have, the more the story comes up. And by the time you're done, you're like, I just cannot get away from this person. This is too much. And you are trying to avoid them like the plague. That's what happens when you spam your audience. And this picture on the screen actually is a really good visual of that. I want you to take a look over here and you can see my mouse. I'm over here hovering over our business platforms. We've got Instagram, we got Facebook, we got LinkedIn, we got X, we got them all. We got the full suite. That's what we're trying to drive towards, more places to be showing up. Then we also have our personal. So we've got duplicates. Most of us have a business LinkedIn profile and we have our own personal LinkedIn profile. Some of us have business Instagram, our own personal Instagram. We can very easily spam that audience. We're also posting on all of our different platforms at the same time. So we've got Spotify, we've got our Apple, we've got any of the other things that are being published on our Blueberry channels. I love to say Spotify and Apple because those are the two most recognized. But then we're also sending it out in emails. It's coming from everywhere, which is great. It gets eyes on us. That's what we're wanting to do. And I'm not discouraging having all of these channels. This is a lever in your whole marketing strategy. You need to have all of these. You get the most out of your marketing strategy by having every single one of these. However, this is what is out. This is what the algorithm loved before. I'm showing you this picture so that you can see, hey, we spammed every day for every channel and we got everything on there and we were doing good. Every time there's a new release, we post, 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 post. Well, it's not unique. It's not getting people to engage. It's not going, hey, can you go and like, I want to share this with somebody. You are going, hey, I went on my LinkedIn profile this morning. Oh, and I saw Matt's video that he posted. Oh, and then I saw Matt's video when I went on my personal one. And then I saw it again when I went on my Instagram really quick later on that evening. And I saw the same one on Facebook. It takes that originality out of it and it doesn't feel like it came to you with intent. So this visual really expresses what you're kind of doing to your audience. Does that make sense?
Wholeheartedly. And I love that you said intent, right? And so it's really important to make sure that your intentions are very clear on why you're doing what you're doing on social.
hmm So algorithm before, love this. You looked like you were a champ. What does the algorithm want now? The algorithm wants you showing up and getting lots of likes and interaction and comments. If we're sending the same thing out everywhere, we're not able to interact with all of those posts the same way. If you think about it as your end audience receiving it like that, think about your day-to-day workflow. How would you, that's a full-time job going and messaging and being on and having to respond to all of those comments and all of those platforms. You are also going to lose windows of opportunity by not going and commenting on those posts because it's all over the place. It's hard to manage. Now, with the new algorithm and what is in, is posting on different platforms on a round robin type um, pattern. When we do this, we are now leaving ourselves room to post things in between. This is just for your podcast itself and that strategy. You're also allowing the space in the room for you to put your personal posts, for you to go and interact and create more posts for strategy for the different things that you're promoting and the different items that you're trying to do through your business and through your personal. This doesn't spam your end user. It creates more opportunity for them to want to interact. And what we're doing with our new content format and why this is so important is we have learned this algorithm and we want all of our clients to succeed. We don't want to even keep this a secret. That's why we've given this free webinar to people that we don't even work with. We want to make sure that you're not burning out. You're not spending the cycles in the wrong places. We want to still get that content across to all those social platforms, but we want to do it in a way that is manageable for you to have people interacting. And that's why you're going to see some changes in our content where they're asking more for that interaction. Things like share this with, does this, or share this with somebody you know, or does this sound like somebody
Mhm.
you know? Or does this relate to somebody you know? How many times, Matt, have you received the same video short from somebody through Instagram, Facebook, because they go, hey, this sounds like this person. I got to share this with them. That is what we're looking for to grow and scale our audience.
I'm going to go wicked, wicked old school here, just very quickly. But www is World Wide Web. And we have to always keep in mind that all of those links, all of those different webs that are going out, and when they're all communicating together, and this one now connects to this one, which is what Tash is talking about there. So Tash shares a video with me, and I love it because it was and it was totally me. And then all of a sudden, I share that. That's something that the algorithms are paying attention to now. And the more things, and in fact, I hear this on TikTok all the time from the influencers on TikTok. You know, they want you to bookmark it, they want you to share it, and they want you to comment it, right? And like it. So there's like four things that they want you to do on every one of their videos because that pleases that specific algorithm. You all need to be doing the same thing. But I'd like for you to dive in just a little bit more deeply, Tash, because yes, what we're doing for our existing clients, this is already part of your system that you brought when you came on board. But for those people who really don't, they're not active members of our community, what is actually, can you dive into duplication just a little bit more? You kind of, flew over that quick, but I'd like for you to dive into that a little bit more deeply, please.
Absolutely. So duplication is taking that same exact post, maybe tweaking a word a little bit here and there, but just putting it out on every platform. When you take that same link, that same speech, and you can say it in first person or second person, third person, however you want to say it, it's still the same thing. Think of even Chat GPT and analytics going out there. If you type in give me Matt's post about this. It's going to pull up all of the different posts from all of the channels. If you don't think the algorithm on the back end doesn't know how smart that it is, that you're just taking content and you're recycling it and using it everywhere, it's not going to work in your favor. That is the one key thing that we have in our advantage when it comes to podcasting. Podcasting is original. It's not somebody else's content. It's your own. It's unique. We can take snippets, create 10 very, very unique posts, put them out on all your different social channels, and you're more likely to get the hits. One of our team members internally was actually talking about this the other day, and I think I shared it with you, Matt, about YouTube and how people were taking long form content, snipping it up into little pieces, and then putting it as shorts and trying to make money off of it. YouTube is saying, no more will we monetize for that. And they're catching it. The algorithms are catching on to original content. So, what does this do for our industry and podcasting? It is going to tenfold. You are going to get rewarded for all of the things that you're putting out there because yours is unique and you're not plastering it all over. You're plastering it with, or you're putting it out there with intent, with purpose, and you're also putting it in a space where you're saying, hey, interact with me and I want to relate to my listener.
So one of the other pieces that I think you just shared there that is really, really important
Mhm.
is I kind of want to. I really just want to dive in. We don't have time for this. you know what? We don't have time for it. I was going to dive much. I'm sorry. People know me. I was going to have you explain something. I think you and I will just do another webinar here in the near future because I really, really want to talk a lot more about that focus and intent, especially when you're building a social media strategy across different platforms. We don't have time to get into that today. So let's go ahead and we'll get on to our next thing because we're 16 minutes in and we got a lot of things to cover. So, all right, what's
Matt,
in?
I'm going to
Oh,
surprise
oh,
you
you
because
are.
I included that later on.
Yay! All right, good, 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 good. All right, are we ready to move on to the next one? What's in?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's go.
All right. So strategy is going to be the most important thing that we can go ahead and do. And this is one of the neat things that we do for our clients here at Proudmouth is we talk about strategy. In fact, Tash, that's one of the big things that you and your team really brought to us as the executive team when you came on board was really making sure that you were focused. What works on LinkedIn doesn't necessarily work successfully on Instagram. So let's dive into fewer posts with the strategy and making sure we're tailoring things for each specific social media platform.
Great points here, Matt. So really what we're looking to do, post less with intent. Customize by each platform itself. And that's where I'm going to surprise you with a little bit of this customization here. But we also need to focus on the relevance, the engagement, and those watch times. We need to make sure that all of our stuff is compliance friendly, but it doesn't need to be boring. It can be unique. Put your personality into it, give it your flair. We don't want to talk all this boring, dull plan for your retirement. We want to talk about what are the fun things I get to do on my retirement. What should I be saving for so I can maybe indulge in golf or in all these extracurricular activities? You know, get those people on there that are living that lifestyle. Bring on people that are doing those things that are going to bring your audience in and captivate them. Add some personality to your shows. You are going to get more hits, more interaction on these platforms if you really are dialing into what the audience on these platforms want to hear about. So, what works? Let's talk about that. You know, you've got your LinkedIn for your company. What are we going to be doing here? This is like celebrity and insight type focus. The formats we're going to want to use on there is a mixture of putting clips, images, different text. You can try all different types of formats because that end user really, really loves seeing that variation. It's going to build trust, it's going to build authority. Your LinkedIn personal profile, that's your human side of you. That's you. Give it your personal touch. Share some photos of your family, you know, put clips, images, different text in there. Boost your personality and visibility there. The nice thing you can do, okay, we're posting very unique posts on each platform. And hear me clearly here. That doesn't mean that you can't share it to another platform. What did you just do there? You just hit the algorithm that you got to share. You got to comment. You got to like. Your company can go and like and share and do different things on your personal channel and vice versa. Matt, great example. We do that internally here.
Yeah.
And that's what helps bring that back up to the top. Instagram and business profiles for your Instagram personal or your business, you want to make sure that you have videos and images on there. That's all that platform's about.
Mhm.
What is captivating? What's going to catch your eye? Yes, there is posts and there is text in those posts. But You want to be posting things that somebody can be sitting there going down their rabbit hole and their videos that they really like. So that's a great spot to put your shorts. Facebook and Instagram. I like to talk to these guys like they're cousins. They're family. When
Yeah.
you post on a story, you're going to find that Instagram, Facebook, the metadata, they'll let you post vice versa in both places. Share those things. If you post on Instagram, you can still get a boost by resharing it on another platform like Facebook because they are cousins. That's okay. Um, Make sure that you're also tagging people in those posts as well for your extra visibility. You want to have lots of quotes, different images, video, text on Facebook. The nice thing about Facebook is it allows you to have a personality, add in those little pops of color of yourself, and really express yourself in your posts. Where Instagram, people aren't really reading your post that often. When you think about going into posts on Instagram, you're usually in the reels and you're just looking at videos and you land on on somebody and you go, "Oh, they popped up a few times. I think I'm going to follow them." And I don't know about you, but I'll go to that channel, I'll see, "Oh, this is what I like." And usually if you've clicked on somebody more than once, they'll keep on popping up into your channel and your feed. You're going to keep popping up into people's channels and feeds even if you've gotten an impression because the algorithm knows that they liked you and you're going to keep on trying to promote it naturally, organically. YouTube Shorts, that's where you're going to put all your clips. You know, we want to make sure that it's really searchable as well. So you're going to find your content has searchability words in it. So all you people out there, remember too, when you are making human edits and you're saying, "Hey, I want to, change a bit of my content," be careful what you change, especially if you're running it through Chat GPT, because you want to make sure it doesn't lose that SEO availability and that searchability. And when I talk about that, I also want to say the algorithm is getting so smart. Another cool thing happened over the past couple of weeks. In Instagram, it's now allowing you to find things that you have Googled and vice versa. So
Yeah.
talk about the power there. So
Yeah.
we want to make sure that our Instagram posts have those right hashtags in them too, so that if you're searching something, you show up on people's laps. So algorithm, super cool, super important that we know our audience on all of these different platforms and where we're targeting them and what those platforms are valuable for doing.
Okay. I'm going to pause you because we've got a couple of questions that just came in that I want you to answer. So the first one is reels versus stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So stories, they are super awesome if you just want them to be temporary. I tell my clients post stories as your personal stories. If you're doing something over the
Ah,
weekend that you want to share, like, show something that way where you can do almost like a carousel post and you put three, four different images in there and it creates a story. A reel, it stays. That's something that's permanent on your Instagram page. So, really important to know the difference between the two. It's more if it's something to do with your show itself, I always recommend put it in your history so it's now findable. Once stories are over, she gone. It
yeah.
timed out. You can't go back and get it.
Perfect. All right. Now, I don't know if we're actually going to talk about this later, but we have another anonymous attendee. Wait, come on, why are you anonymous? But anyway, who says, "Is it rude to tag a journalist who you would like to listen to your client's podcast?" What is your two
No,
cents on that?
no, I think it's really, really flattering. And if you comment with intention and you actually said, "Hey, I think this would be something so cool," and express that, put yourself in the other person's shoes. You'd be flattered to receive that type of response too. And what's the worst thing that somebody can do? They say no. We second guess ourselves so much. And this is where we talk about that rise above the noise, Matt, and the
Mhm.
new podcast that you guys were going to be launching on August 11th, by the way. Um, Rise above what's going on in your head where you're overthinking things
Mhm.
sometimes. Tag away. As long as you're doing it from a good intention in a good place, I think that's a fantastic way to feed your ecosystem.
Now, I'm going to say so a million percent on all of that. But what some people are doing, which is driving some of us crazy, is you're over tagging people. So let's talk. I'm just going to expand on what Tash was just
Yes.
saying there. If you have something that's very, very specific that could potentially be newsworthy, especially when in the world of PR, tagging one journalist is entirely fine. If you tag 20 journalists, you're going to drive them crazy. And Tash, I'm just going to personalize this very quickly. Somebody was trying to get a lot of attention to something they wrote. They tagged
Hmm.
100 people. And what they did was they tagged those in the comments too. And so I didn't see the post because, to be really honest, I don't really follow that person. But all of a sudden, and then I get notifications every time something happens on that post because I was tagged in it. So just so everybody is very, very clear on this webinar, and in the world of social media, that is a massive faux pas and a misstep, and you are not making friends with that. You can tag one or two people to thank them, but please, please don't do the spam tagging. It's just like the spam posting Tash was talking about before. All right, beautiful. All right, where are we going from here?
Yeah, absolutely. That comment of spam posting, totally not okay. Next thing I want to do is just go over the impacts of your traffic. What are the purposes and why do you want to use each of these platforms and how do you leverage them the best? Okay. So this column here, this is new listeners. Okay.
Mm,
We're going to talk about new listeners and where you're going to get your traffic from. New listeners are going to come from your shorts. That
mhm,
means on all platforms, all social platforms. That is how you're going to bring in new people. When you're sitting there scrolling down your rabbit hole at night, that's how people end up on your socials and starting to grow that audience where they start to follow you. Your shorts are going to help drive that. Even your shorts on YouTube will also link back to long form content, which is probably going to make people subscribe.
mhm,
Uh, your mailing list, you ain't gonna really get much from your mailing list on your videos. I'm gonna be really straight with you. It is really crucial that you are obviously putting it out there. You want to keep people active, but that's a little bit on the lower scale. Now, LinkedIn, people love, love, love to see a short little clip. That honestly, that for me, when I just see posts with an image, it's not as captivating as it is to see video. It's the same with podcasting. You don't want the audio anymore. Our brains are in this world of overstimulation and we have very short attention spans. So putting those shorts on LinkedIn is going to capture somebody's attention. So it's very high up on the ranking scale. Web, it's right in the medium. Okay. I love, love, love the idea of incorporating some of your shorts on your website. If you can put some of those on there, that it creates your website to be more
mhm.
interactive, posting with that SEO value, that is going to help make you findable. So speak with your AM if you have any other questions around that piece, and we can work with you on how you can maybe utilize your short form clips to get them onto your site if you're not doing that already. It's definitely something you want to leverage. Two, new little short clips on your podcast channels. People are listening, they're not looking at it. So you're probably not going to show up on their other feeds there. It's much lower on the list. When it comes to repeat clients, where are we getting the most impact? It's from our mailing list. It's
Yeah.
sending them out, letting them know, hey, you got a new episode. You're going to get, more you're going to get them to remind them to go watch from watching those little shorts, those LinkedIn posts, that web, that your podcast itself, because it's going to give out a reminder that hey, there's a new episode. That once you have people that are subscribed and liking or sharing and they're repeat listeners, you can see that middle column is your hotspot. You just got to get them to like, subscribe, and get into that middle funnel so that we can move them over to this funnel here, which is leads, which is what we're looking for, that ROI, that expanding of the audience, that they end up in your inbox or booking a meeting with you. And again, new leads are going to come from video content, those shorts, that email list, LinkedIn. your SEO on your websites, those are really, really, really important things that we really hit the nail on the head. So when you're strategizing, these are the things you've got to think about.
You
Any
have
questions
example?
on that?
Well, yeah. So if you do have questions, go ahead and put them in Q&A. But do you want to show the example that you have here to talk about
Absolutely.
differences on where you're posting and stuff? I think this is such a good
Absolutely.
example.
Of course. So this is a prime example. Okay. I am highlighting Dan Reese, one of my favorite clients to work with here at Proudmouth. Dan, I hope you're on this call. But Dan, this is a perfect example of what you do when you're posting in two different places. So you're going to see over on the left-hand side for his LinkedIn post, it's very personable. He's getting excited about something. He's looking for interaction. And then when you're going over to the YouTube side of things, his is more of a keyword, short, simple, findable type post. It's driving you to watch the full episode on both sides, but they're very different in the way that they present themselves. Looking for conversation versus looking for, hey, I just want you to watch the full length video.
I do have to say that that picture made me twitch a little bit because he's using my least favorite microphone that's ever been built. But you and I can talk about that with Dan offline because Dan, what are you doing, man? We sent you a microphone. Anyway, all right. So let's keep going here. Okay, so what's out? This is something that has been the bane of our existence actually here at Proudmouth with a lot of our clients because they don't really understand how important it is to we're called Proudmouth for a reason, everybody, because we want you to be proud of the content that you create with us. And listen, even if you aren't a Proudmouth client, we want you to be proud of the content because if you are, then you're going to do much more promotion. So with that, Tash, take it away.
Yeah. Okay. So one and done, absolutely out. And that's why we like to take over producing content and scheduling content for that very reason. So we make sure that you get what works. One post for a launch day, it's not enough. Hey, just dropped this. We're also not Joe Rogan. So when we say, hey, watch this episode, that's not getting people excited. All right. The audience gets this gets buried in the audience and it becomes more of this link first, low reach type content where you're just driving them to go watch the show, as opposed to creating something that is more meaningful and insightful and posting with intent. So, when I talk about posting with intent, I mean, and let's take us back to this platform here, it's posting with how do I speak to each person in that audience and what is it doing for me? What am I trying to achieve? If I get interaction and I get conversations started and I look like a thought leader and I build trust in my space, I am more likely to get more leads from it. Somebody is looking up at you and they're going, oh my gosh, this person's got 200 likes. That's
Mhm.
impressive. Or 200 comments. Wow, they really think you're a subject matter expert when you've got all of that transpiring. And it's so cool that we can take content and automize it and take little tiny snippets of what we do with our content, and we can drive it to build turnkey solutions for us. So, what we do when we build content is we identify 3 to 5 takeaways from that content. And we go, okay, now let's take those and let's turn it into short form assets. If you do a shorter show, you're going to maybe get 3 pieces out of there because we don't want to give them the whole story. We just want to give them some little tidbits that leaves that person hanging to want to listen for more. Then we customize each of those assets for each platform because we saw with each social platform, they all do different things. They all have different audiences. They serve different purposes. So we've got to think about the content. We have to customize it to fit those platforms. We use CTAs to invite the next step. It can be anything from save a comment, share, like. They don't always have to be action item things. Go to my site, do this, do that. We find that people who interact more are more likely to reach out to you with a personal DM. How often, Matt, do you get a message on LinkedIn that they've just commented on something and now you've sent them a private DM and you take it outside of the chat and into a bigger conversation? That's what we want to drive is those conversations that you are the subject matter expert. Staggering publishing across platforms and the weeks is also going to help you manage that response time better. One thing that we don't do well is it's like a set it and forget it type thing. Oh, we posted, we launched, we created all of this beautiful podcast, and now she gone. And it's out there and the world will go find it. No, 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 no. We've got to be interacting with that post as well. We have to be showing our end audience that we care. We also have to show the algorithm that we care because that's how we're getting points. Tokens. Now, you're going to ask, why the heck is there sloth on here? My whole reason behind this sloth is actually a client experience. I was watching some shorts from one of the episodes that was created, and they were talking about a sloth. What does that have to do with financial advisors? Well, nothing. But I was watching it, and the way they were talking about this sloth left this cliffhanger for me, where I was like, well, what is that? I want to learn more. And time again, I have had people reach out and go, that wasn't the best clip that you pulled from my podcast. Can you change it? Can you get this? Can you get that? Stop questioning some of the things that we're doing. We're professionals here, and we have a method behind our madness. That sloth post itself is a cliffhanger that makes you go, I want to learn more, and actually
Yeah.
click on the long form video because it's like, what are they talking about here? So it also showed a really quirky side of some personality, which we keep saying, hey, this is
Mhm.
authentic you. You get to show yourself. You get to put it on all these different platforms. Make sure you're creative with the content that you're creating. And we here at Proudmouth are making sure that we are pulling out these types of opportunities as well to make this content findable. Depending on what the clip looks like, there could be more SEO value in a certain one.
Mhm.
And that's why we're posting it on YouTube for YouTube Shorts.
Tash, you said something that I want to echo and remind everybody of too. Think about all of your best clients, right? Are your best
Mm.
clients the ones who sit down during your annual, semi-annual, or monthly review and question every single solitary trade, financial planning decision, insurance product? No, your best clients are ones who say, "Holy crap, you guys are actually the experts," and so I'm going to go ahead and listen to you. Now we're in the same situation. Just to remind everybody here, since Proudmouth's inception, we've done over 10,000 podcast episodes and over 150,000 social media posts. We have hired unbelievable people like Tash and her team who live and breathe this stuff and have for 10, 15 years. The other thing that Tash said too that is wildly important for everybody to understand is what we call interesting but incomplete information. That is, you want to give away almost everything because then they want more. We always want somebody to want more because then we can get them, as Tash said, off of your rented audience on social media and into your owned audience. And one last thing, think of each social media platform like its own culture, right? So if I'm going to go hang out with this group of people, I might have to do a little bit of code switching to make sure that I'm behaving in the manner that's correct for those people. And then if I'm at another group of people, there I might not be my full Mattness in all of those situations, but I'm still enough Matt that people get to know who I am. Social media is the exact same way. And this really gets back to intention, which is where we're going next, is what's out, just kind of posting a bunch of stuff without any sort of strategy or intention. So hit it.
Absolutely. So when you're just going and you're posting and you have no strategy, that's going to be number one, really hard to manage. Really hard to manage. You're not going to have the follow up and the traction and the follow through. You don't even know where it's posting. You're just going to get all these pings and these notifications. And if you think about that, you're not, that becomes very overwhelming in itself. When you go on vacation and you have 400 emails sitting in your inbox, how overwhelming is that? Imagine having that at a full scale on all those platforms that we discussed before. So it is really, really important to know, when are you posting? What times are you posting? When should I be going and engaging? One of the main things that people forget about is that algorithm loves that you are in there the first 90 minutes from posting. You get the bigger boost at those first 90 minutes. Not saying you don't get a boost from the algorithm later on when people are interacting and showing that they like something, but that first 90 minutes is so crucial in making sure that it is going and going, hey, is this a real person? Are they sitting behind the computer? Did they actually post this? Or did they just send all of this stuff out with no intent? And you're just firing blindly. And I hope it lands in someone's lap and I hope they see it. You don't want your end users to think that way, number one. Number two, you don't want it to hurt you when you're going and creating all of this content and you're putting it out there. You're putting so much effort and time into creating these beautiful, beautiful shows. And now it takes that level of authority and brings it down because you
Yeah.
didn't get the boost and you utilize the algorithm the way it was intended to be used. So
Yeah.
early engagement matters and missed opportunities, they're going to matter too because like I said, when you see that map and that color map of where we're posting and how everything works, that middle column where you have repeat people and followers and fans, that's what turns people into prospects.
Yeah.
They already know you. They already think they feel you. They're like, oh, that's that person. I see them on Instagram all the time. They feel like they're a part of you. There's so many influencers that I've even watched, and you almost feel like you're following along with their life, and they're like a part of your friend group.
That's right.
You're more opted to work with somebody that you've seen time and time again versus somebody that you have never seen and they're a stranger to you.
Mhm.
Now, that's where it's also important that, again, you're feeding them something new all the time. Because, again, you don't want to be that person at that party that is so annoying talking about the same thing. And we need to make sure that we are also going at this with, you said, Matt, when you go and you spam people and you tag 100 people in a post, you don't want it to be 100 spam posts that are all over the place and they mean nothing. So when you post with intent, know you're posting with intent, and comment with intent. It's a two-way streak here, and the algorithm will love it.
Yeah. So Roxani just asked a question here, and I was just about to answer it in chat, but I think I'd like to have you answer it. So it's the unidirectional channel thing. So a lot of business owners have specifically been told, look, LinkedIn is where you need to go. Post on LinkedIn, just focus on LinkedIn. So if you are a little bit more hyper focused on one channel, how does that affect you from a social media platform, and how do you feel about that with your experience, Tash?
Yeah, Matt, I think that's an awesome question. As long as, you know, when we think of marketing as a whole, again, we keep talking about this is just one lever.
Mhm.
You can post on there more heavily because that's the area where your business is sitting. Just make sure you leave room for you to be able to post other things for the strategy. You don't want your social posts to go out 3, 4 times a day. If you actually look at best practices for your LinkedIn media post to perform the best, is 3 to 5 times per week.
Mhm.
The other thing is knowing the times that work. LinkedIn, people aren't on there as much on the weekends. They're actually starting to unplug and be with their families. So we want to make sure that you leverage on the weekends, maybe channels like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Those are really, really good places where people are just kind of scrolling and they're landing on it because they've shut their brains down and they're
Yeah.
not so much into the work week. And that's why, Matt, you and I have been on so many coaching calls, and we always say when you're picking your date to go live and you want that frequency to be happening, don't post
Mhm.
on a Monday or a Friday as your go live date. You can
Right.
post content on those days, but you want to make sure that it's maybe one of those channels that aren't as hot and heavy of a channel for you. If your LinkedIn is your hotspot,
Mhm.
I recommend posting Tuesday to Friday on your LinkedIn.
Yeah. I'm going to add one other quick thing because first off, I just want to give a shout out to Roxy because she's a body language expert and helped me with my TED talk, and I love her dearly, and she's absolutely fantastic. But this also really gets back to the intention component that we've been talking about. That's pretty consistent in here. So if your major focus is growing your business and you're, depositing everything on LinkedIn specifically, remember, when you are posting on Instagram or Facebook, especially your own Insta or Facebook, this is the opportunity for you to, lift that car hood just a little bit and show people what really makes Tash click. And this is really important because we've done a lot of research on the 4-to-1 rule. So every 4 major hardcore business posts, you need to post something that's moderately personal. Now, that is entirely up to you on your comfort level, but it is really, really powerful. Now we're switching to what's in. We don't have a lot of stuff left. But I want to talk about this very quickly because many moons ago, we would have things called post parties. All right, Tash, so I don't know, we did this in financial services where we would have a group of people who every day, one of the people who were in the post party, we knew that they were going to post at 9:30. So we all agreed to be on at 9:30. So the minute 9:30 happened and that post happened, we're like keyboard warriors, right? Liking and sharing and commenting. And oh my God, we were hacking the algorithm like nobody's hacking the algorithm. And it worked really well. And it just really supports everything that you're talking about, which is we want to make sure that we have the right sort of engagement. So go ahead.
We do. So the one main thing that you can leverage is build your internal engagement squad, right? We have an engagement strategy. You're to get a content planner. The beauty of something I've implemented here within our system is giving you a content planner, and it talks about everything that you're going to do for the next 6 to 12 months. Building out a plan, a visual plan, knowing, hey, this is when I'm going to post. I'm posting with intent. And people find it redundant. Why are we creating this? Because this is why it's so important. We're feeding an algorithm, and we need to make sure that the content also aligns with that algorithm. So your strategy is your main thing that you want. Leveraging your internal squad. Okay, everybody has different business sizes. They've got corporations that they can work with. They've got, family, friends. Tap into your squad and
Yeah.
start to get them to utilize commenting, liking, sharing, tagging, all that meaningful dialogue that we're talking about. Get them to start doing that for you, because you will show up and keep on showing up if they help you out in that manner. It's no different. For instance, when we post something internally, we'll send out a message to the team and say, hey, can you go show this some love? It's as simple as that. And also when we're doing it in a really soft, cool way where it's very, hey, would you mind supporting me and maybe going and commenting on this? Once you build that traction, you're going to want to do it for others. You're going to show up as a thought leader over there. You're growing your audience everywhere. So making sure that you leave space in your day to go and do that, not only for your squad, but
Mhm.
for making sure that you build that strategy with a bigger squad, is really, really important. And making sure that you're also setting time aside to go and create that engagement with your post. So if you are posting at a time that it's not working well for you, talk with your AM, change it,
Mhm.
build your strategy up for that engagement side of things, because the algorithm's going to love it at the end of the day.
All right, so we have been having questions throughout. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them in chat, and we'll answer them. Because I'm going to just talk about a couple of things that Tash had just said there. When it comes to engagement with your own specific posts, everything that we've been talking about is entirely vital. But another layer of the algorithmic pleasure that all of us are trying to satisfy is when you are, and so let's say you post within that 90 minutes and Tash talked about being on social media. I want to elaborate on that just a little bit. And Tash, I'm going to have you jump in on this in just a sec. But the important thing here is, let's say you want to work with nurse anesthetists, and they are like your favoriteest people in the whole wide world. So we, as Proudmouth, we post for you at 10:30 a.m. on a Tuesday. Okay, we'll just use that as time. So 15 minutes before you're going to get on there, the post goes live. Now, before you're there, you should be interacting with the nurse anesthetist, liking, commenting, and things, because you're teaching the algorithm what you want to see. It's really, really smart, everybody. So make sure that you're going. This gets back to intention. We help our clients build a strategy to do this. And if you aren't using Proudmouth right now, you have to have the same sort of strategy. So, Tash, can you actually jump to the next slide so we can make sure that our existing clients know what to do, and then I'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Absolutely. You know, Matt, you made a really good comment there too. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced this, but you're talking at home about something, especially financial planning, right? You're usually talking about that with your partner at home. Well, when you're talking about something, your phone's also listening. It's an algorithm. How many times have you been talking about something? I was talking about a vehicle the other day, and it started popping up on all of my feeds, right? So we need to make sure that, again, you're doing those same things. You're on and visiting those pages, you are following that best practice, you're attracting your audience, you're commenting on your audience, you are present there, and that's how you're going to get the most traction. Now, I want you guys to be able to reach out to your account manager. They know about all these strategies. They have been in the digital marketing space for over 15 years. They have strategy background. We did not hire any account manager that does not have strategy. It is really, really crucial that you explain to them what your strategy looks like, because we can tailor it to work with yours. I noticed from one of the comments, it was a LinkedIn post. If you only have that platform, what do I do now? Okay, well, you want to start growing your other platforms because you want to add other levers to your social platform, and you want to start feeding that algorithm. So making sure that, you know, if you're going to start a podcast or you want to do something else, those other channels like YouTube, that's also a channel. You can still start at ground zero from LinkedIn, or sorry, from Instagram and Facebook. You're just going to want to go on there and start replicating what you have on your LinkedIn. So if you have followers on your LinkedIn, you want to go find them on their Instagram. So it's going to be really, really important when you're building those audience in that growth path.
Okay,
I,
Roxanne, you just asked one other question, and this is you,
Mhm.
you can answer this. You're maybe more qualified. But before we answer this, listen, if you're not a current client of Proudmouth, please scan this QR code. Gives you access to my calendar. I'm more than happy to go ahead and spend. It's a 30-minute free strategy session. It is not a sales call. It's you're going to answer some questions, and I'm going to go ahead and deconstruct some of the stuff. Now, I also want you to be very clear. Sometimes those strategy sessions are a little painful for you because you don't know what you don't know. And this is what we do every day. So if you're okay with maybe a little bit of soft, poking, that we want you to do some things that you might not currently be doing, please do. Now, Roxani asked the question, how does the algorithm respond to AI generated stuff?
Mm-hmm. So with AI generated things, I mean, all algorithms are loving are detecting some forms of AI. Like I mentioned, YouTube, it's picking up on things that aren't original content. You can't take an
Mhm.
episode of The Sopranos and chop it up and push it out there. The nice thing about our content and the video clips and all of the automation that we're doing is that it's unique. It is absolutely 100% unique. And where we can obviously use some AI tools to speed up certain processes, we
Mhm.
still go in and add human sets of eyes and change things and make sure that it sounds like you. If you have not dialed in your brand voice here
Yep.
at Proudmouth, which a number of our clients have, and they've taken advantage of building that brand voice with us, I encourage you to reach out and really build that brand voice, because when we're done with you, your content sounds and feels exactly like you. Exactly like you, because it's taking terminology that you would use. You know, there's something that I always joke about, and I call it, we call them Tash tags, because I make up my own jargon here and there.
Mhm.
So some of the words that I would use, they might not even be real words in the dictionary. But if I wanted to add a touch of Tash to things, you would want to capture some of the ways that I would articulate the message. So it's very unique what Proudmouth does here with creating the content, that it doesn't look AI driven. There can be assistance in creating some of it, but we do not want any AI driven content or anything that would hurt the algorithm in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
I hope
and
that
so
answers the
so
question.
with that, so for those of you who don't have the level of breadth and depth with your specific agent, which is something that like Kirk and I were talking about this with you a couple of days ago, Tash. So Kirk and I have been using AI so much that our AI really knows our voice because we're interacting with it every day. When AI gives us something and we make changes, we plug it back into our AI so that it has the memory and understand. A lot of you are getting really lazy with AI. You're just throwing stuff in and saying, hey, generate me 10 social media posts. And you're literally just cutting and pasting stuff. Now, what that's doing is the algorithms know because that stuff that is supposed to be yours isn't yours because it doesn't have the touch of Tash. It doesn't have that flair that you need to have when you're building your brand voice. So that is vitally, vitally important for all of you to remember. All right. So as we wrap up today, just
And no SEO, and it has no SEO.
oh,
So no
that,
one's gonna
yeah, that's
find
also,
you.
yeah. So the three quick things here as we go ahead and wrap up. Number one, if you're an existing client of Proudmouth, please make sure that you reach out to your AM to talk about anything that we talked about today that you might not have already had a conversation about, but you need to, especially the brand voice and the strategy stuff. Number two, if you are not a client of Proudmouth and you really want to know more about who we are and what we do at Proudmouth, please schedule a free strategy session. I'd be more than happy to do that. And finally, if you're not following Tash specifically on LinkedIn, please make sure that you follow Tash. She's putting super smart stuff out there on a regular basis that all has to do with digital marketing, not just what we do here at Proudmouth, but what her experience has been in working in this field for many, many moons. Also, please make sure if you have not subscribed to our newsletter on LinkedIn that you subscribe to our newsletter. We had huge uptake on that, which we were super happy. August 11th is when our new podcast comes out. And with that, this is for Tash and for all of us here at Proudmouth. This is Matt Halloran, and we'll see you on another webinar very, very soon. Thanks, everybody.